12 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news coming out of Minnesota. Federal law enforcement is on the scene in a Minneapolis neighborhood after a man was shot in the leg by a federal agent.
Protesters have been clashing with law enforcement in the area over the last 2 hours. According to the Department of Homeland Security, federal law enforcement conducted a targeted traffic stop of a person from Venezuela. They say the person fled the scene in his vehicle, crashed, and then ran away. When agents caught up with the person and restrained them, Homeland Security says that 2 individuals came out of a nearby apartment and attacked the law enforcement officer. That's when the officer opened fire, hitting the initial suspect in the leg. DHS says that both the officer and the suspect are in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We're also following some breaking news here in the Valley. There's still an active search for 21-year-old Isabella Comas. DPS issued a turquoise alert for the young woman last night. And tonight, Avondale police are sharing this new photo of Comas, showing what she was last seen wearing.
Police now say there are suspicious circumstances surrounding her disappearance. They've located her red Hyundai Sonata near 67th Avenue and Indian School, but there's still no sign of Comas. Here's her description. She's around 5'3", pink hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information is being asked to call the Avondale Police Department or 911. New at 10. Car thefts are up here in the Valley, especially on high-end vehicles. According to DPS, suspects are stealing cars, taking them apart, and then selling the parts online at cheap prices.
12 News journalist Chase Golightly is joining us live in studio. And Chase, DPS says that they have multiple arrests and an organized theft ring involved in this scheme.
Caribe, Mark, that's right. DPS seized more than a dozen stolen cars related to this crime syndicate. They tell me all those cars are worth about $750,000.
All of this stuff right
what you're seeing is a stolen Dodge Charger Scat Pack.
We've got the main chassis of the car.
You may not recognize it because it has been completely disassembled, with parts scattered all throughout this Valley home.
These are the parts that we found in the living room. There's the hood, the front bumper, the rear deck lid.
It was found by Captain Trevor Graff and others with DPS's Vehicle Theft Task Force. Just one of 17 cars they recovered in a 4-month-long investigation into an auto theft crime ring that landed 5 people behind bars.
They absolutely knew what they were doing.
Captain Graff says what makes this type of car theft different is these suspects were going after high-end vehicles.
They would go into an apartment complex, scout out a high-end car like they wanted another Charger Hellcat, and they would leave. The next night they would come back. They would steal that car.
Then they would either sell the car whole and drive it into Mexico, keep it for themselves and switch out the VIN number, or, like in this case, completely disassemble it and sell the high-end parts for cheap.
And they were selling the parts on Facebook Marketplace. We have seen more of this happening in the Valley.
The reason why this is on the rise?
It's mostly because technology is evolving. The auto theft is up on the higher-end cars because they're all technologically guarded, and there's ways around most of them.
In one case, a suspect was seen getting into one of the cars with a tablet. In previous stories we've covered, experts say they plugged the tablet right into the car's onboard diagnostics port, and within seconds, they're able to start the car and turn off the alarm systems.
It's making it easier for people to steal cars. Unfortunately, manufacturers, as soon as they come up with a fix for their cars getting stolen, the bad guys find a better way to steal the car.
Graff says the best thing to keep your car in place is to make sure the doors are locked, put a plastic or metal cover over your OBD port, and get one of these guys, a steering wheel lock.
Are they the end-all? No, but again, it makes it more inconvenient to steal that car. You want to make your car the least attractive target for a car thief that you can.
Now, DPS says they also recovered other stolen parts on Facebook Marketplace. Graff says for those who do buy car parts on sites like that, if the deal sounds too good to be true, it's probably stolen, and buying it could actually lead to you getting charged. We're live in the studio. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thanks. After more than a decade, Phoenix police have made an arrest in a 2014 homicide that took the life of 53-year-old Augustine Valenzuela. Police arrested Fernando Gaitan after cold case detectives say DNA evidence linked him to the crime. This all happened back in 2014. Police say Valenzuela was stabbed during a home invasion near 43rd Avenue in Glendale, where his wife and sons were being held at gunpoint. Valenzuela was taken to the hospital where he later died. Gaitan now facing multiple felony charges.
Tonight, we're following a shooting that involved police that occurred at the Round Valley Police Department. The shooting happened around 1 p.m. and is currently under investigation. Springerville's interim town manager says that no one was injured. However, the incident prompted officials to close the Springerville Town Hall and other offices, and schools in the area were also told to shelter in place. It's unclear if police are looking for a suspect. Stay with 12 News for more updates.
It's been a long night for the Chandler Unified School District Governing Board, which is still, as we speak, considering a proposal that could cut more than 100 positions. Maria Stobbs is live in Chandler right now. And Maria, these are always really emotional situations. How are people feeling tonight?
They are, as you can imagine. Families and staff are angry about this plan, and many of the board members still have a lot of questions about this proposal. Now, the job cuts would be about 122 positions, roughly 2.2% of the workforce, after the district projected a 3% drop in student enrollment next school year. And because the state funds districts based on average daily membership, fewer students means less funding. The district's plan prioritizes cuts to administrative positions, but it also affects teachers, instructional coaches, and deans, and positions tied to special education and curriculum support. Now, all of the elementary, library, media specialist positions would be eliminated and combined with the technology teachers to create a career literacy teacher instead.
This was the best decision that we feel will move the district forward to protect class sizes, to keep our 24-to-1. We have one of the lowest class sizes in all of the East Valley. We're 24-to-1. This plan protects that class size to not increase class sizes, and keep our salaries and benefits competitive as we move forward.
On feedback from a number of groups.
But dozens of people spoke during public comment tonight opposing the proposal, many of them pleading to protect their library programs, media specialists, and technology teachers instead of combining them, including one media specialist, Margie Foster, who works at Fulton Elementary. She was told just before winter break that her job was at risk.
I've given everything I've got. Fulton is my home. So to think that the work that I've put in and the time that I've put in and the energy I've put into families is not valued is a gut punch.
The plan did not include any plans to close any schools, and the district also says anyone who is affected by these cuts will have the opportunity to apply for a different role within the district next school year. But this was the board's first time seeing this presentation tonight, so they do still have a lot of questions about different roles that are being cut and how these roles are being funded. We'll keep you updated, though, as we continue to learn how they decide to vote. We're live in Chandler. Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
Okay, Maria, thanks. Well, take a look at this. A semi-driver jumps out of his rig just seconds before a Union Pacific train slams into it. It happened yesterday in Avondale near 107th Avenue and Buckeye Road. The truck was stopped on the tracks and the train was unable to stop. Union Pacific says this driver did the right thing. If you ever find yourself stuck on the tracks, and we sure hope you don't, but if you do and you can't move your car, just get out and run to safety.
Arizona lawmakers got to work today on a plan to give you tax breaks, but with tax season already underway, it's unclear what those tax breaks will be. Republicans are working to insert Trump's tax cuts into Arizona's state code, but Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs has said that she will veto it. 12 News journalist Bram Resnick spoke to a longtime tax analyst, and he says that you might want to wait until the last minute to file.
President Donald Trump signed off last 4th of July on one of the largest tax breaks in a generation. Now, months later, Arizona lawmakers are racing to catch up.
When it becomes an event is when Congress makes a significant change.
Kevin McCarthy has tracked tax legislation at the Capitol for 40 years.
We should have probably tried to deal with this back in the fall.
The tax breaks are retroactive to last year's income for tax returns you'll file by April 15th this year.
Taxpayers might have to file more than once, or in fact, even maybe incorrectly file their returns based on, if there's lack of clear guidance.
There might not be any guidance for a while. Governor Katie Hobbs and the Republican majority at the Capitol are far apart on their plans for adopting the Trump tax cuts. Independent budget analysts say Hobbs' package will cost the state about $250 million in lost revenue this year. Republicans' plan, which adds more cuts for higher earners and business, would cost $441 million.
We're not in a great budget situation, so understandably you're going to have lawmakers who are going to be hesitant about that.
If we don't find a way to, equitably and efficiently raise revenue elsewhere, then yes, we're going to have to likely cut services.
Here's how confusing our tax season could be. The Arizona Department of Revenue is telling taxpayers there are 3 possible methods for filing a tax return.
If nothing is done, I'll file my state return on April 15th based upon what the lay of the land is at that point.
You're going to go as late as you can.
Absolutely.
So earlier tonight, a Republican-controlled committee voted 5-4 to advance their tax cut plans to the full legislature for a vote. Although the governor is likely to veto the plan, negotiations between the two sides could follow.